Your AT Pro has 8 settings for sensitivity. Use higher sensitivity settings for very small or very deep targets. Use lower sensitivity levels in locations where the detector is behaving erratically. Several factors can cause your detector to appear to behave erratically. Outside electrical interference, highly mineralized soil, excessive metallic trash, or the presence of other metal detectors. Often these interferences can be resolved with proper ground balance, discrimination, or by changing frequencies without having to reduce sensitivity. The AT Pro is capable of operating at 4 slightly different frequencies in order to minimize the interference from electrical sources, such as power lines or from other metal detectors. To adjust frequencies, hold down the pinpoint button and press the plus or minus sensitivity push buttons to change the frequency to find one with the least amount of interference. The frequency setting from F1 to F4 will be indicated on the LCD. Release the pinpoint button when finished. These frequency adjustments are small and will not affect target detection capabilities. Another important feature of the AT Pro is its ability to be ground balanced, either manually or automatically. Detector performance can be negatively affected by ground mineralization. It is important to achieve proper ground balance to cancel unwanted ground signals. This allows the detector to obtain maximum stability, giving you more performance, better detection depth, and more precise pinpointing. For automatic ground balance, press and hold the ground balance button as you bounce or pump the search coil from 1 to 8 inches above the ground. When there is a minimal audio response from the ground, release the push button and begin hunting. The ground balance value will have been indicated in the center of the LCD. Low ground balance values indicate conductive soil. High ground balance values indicate ferrous soil. One important thing to note about ground balancing: when you ground balance the detector in highly mineralized soil, it's very important that you ground balance at the search height you will be sweeping the coil above the ground. Bob the coil as close to the ground as possible, because that's where you'll be sweeping the coil, right above or right on the ground. In neutral ground, there's not much penalty. In fact, some ground is so neutral that the detector's current ground balance setting will not change when you attempt to ground balance the detector. You may want to use the manual ground balance function to ground balance slightly positive to enhance detection of small targets, or balance slightly negative to reduce detection of hot rocks and terracotta. Press and release the ground balance push button and continually bounce or pump the search coil above the ground. If low tones are produced, increase the ground balance setting using the plus notch discrim button. If high tones are produced, decrease the setting using the minus notch disc push button. Press and release the plus or minus notch disc push buttons to make single-step adjustments, or press and hold to make large adjustments. Continue bouncing the coil and making adjustments until a minimum audio response is obtained, indicating the detector is ground balanced. The ground balance setting will be indicated on the LCD. Press and release the ground balance push button again to exit manual ground balance mode. The ground balance setting will be retained when the detector is switched off. To demonstrate the value of proper ground balance, we're out here in the Garrett test lanes, and I've got my AT Pro actually ground balanced for neutral soil. So listen to it as I go over this highly mineralized pit of dirt here, and listen to the reaction. it's clearly picking up the soil here, this mineralized ground. Now down here we've got a chip that represents where we buried a target. We've got a nickel coin that we buried a year ago. So it's been in the ground a long time. It's buried at an 8-inch depth. So at that depth, as you listen as I go across it, I'm not consistently or even at all picking up a good target signal. I'm just getting ground response because I'm improperly ground balanced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step off to the side here and use my automatic ground balance and pump the coil up and down above the ground until I get it into proper ground balance. I'm not getting that ground reaction. I've got good, clean, huntable, situation here where I'm not picking up the ground. So let's go back over this chip again. I'm getting a target response there, and it's bouncing up toward a high signal. It's a little, iffy at times, but to me, there's clearly something down there, and it's showing on my screen 8-inch depth, just like it should show, because I'm swinging the coil right next to the ground. If I get it right on the ground, it actually jumps toward the 10-inch depth, because it's probably settled in a year past the 8-inch mark, so that thing could very well be 9 inches deep. The important thing to note, though, is I can move around it. I'm clearly getting a good target indication, something that would at least dig, because knowing in mineralized ground, it's going to move the target ID just a little bit. I know that's some kind of target down there. And once I remove some soil, I may find that I have a much stronger signal and a much more consistent response. So being properly ground balanced like that definitely achieves better detection ability and gives you better detection depth. The AT Pro includes 6 detection modes, 3 standard modes, and 3 Pro modes. Simply tap the mode button to scroll through the 6 options: custom, coins, or 0 in the standard mode, and custom, coins, or 0 in the Pro mode. Let's start by first discussing the difference between operating in standard mode and operating in Pro mode. In its standard mode, the AT Pro provides full-strength audio response regardless of the target's size or distance from the search coil. This consistent target response is called binary audio. In other words, it is either on or off. It either beeps or it doesn't. Listen to this coin as I pass it beneath the search coil at different depths. Many people prefer to hunt with this simple and consistent type of response. Standard mode is ideal for learning this detector because of its clean response. A target, based on its metal type and its conductivity, is simply reported by one of 3 different tones: a low tone, mid-tone, or a high tone. In contrast, the Pro mode allows you to hear much more target information. Pro mode will actually allow you to judge a target's size and depth because it provides proportional audio. Another feature called tone roll audio allows you to hear changes in the target's conductivity as the coil passes over. In Pro mode, deep targets can be heard even past the point where they register on the target ID. Some will be so faint that it will be important to wear your headphones to hear them. Got a 2-ringer here, and this joker was deep, I'm telling you. Now I was working in the Pro mode right here, and as far as a signal, it was very, very faint. So I kind of dug down some of the soil, but it read real high. That's a good solid piece there. That's a real pretty one. Look at the side, look at the depth on this. I put the shovel down there, and that's well over a foot, very deep.
What'd that read, Steve?
It didn't read. It was so deep it wouldn't read. I was getting a high signal.
Oh, okay.
It was very consistent. Right now it's a 75 on the surface, but I had no numeric indication, no target ID, just deep sound, real high sound. So if it sounds good and it's deep, go after it. Pro Mode also offers faster recovery speed for separating adjacent targets. This is important in areas where good targets are scattered amongst iron trash. That's reading around 85 right there, so. Let's see what that is. Ah, right there. I'm getting iron trash readings all around that, but that quarter, you can really pick it out and it stands out. So, listen to these adjacent coins in Pro Mode. You can clearly hear two separate peaks of audio response. When I switch to Standard Mode, these two targets are often heard as only one strong target signal. So, Pro Mode provides more target information. This extra ability to distinguish targets can mean the difference between digging and not digging a good target. To demonstrate this, here is a coin lying amongst iron nails. In Standard Mode, this grouping presents a very mixed low-tone response, with only occasional higher tones. By switching to Pro Mode, the AT Pro is better able to separate these targets. This repeatable, higher signal indicates that something other than just iron is in this target cluster. Here's a tip for trashy sites. When you encounter a questionable signal like this, change your orientation to the target. Sometimes approaching the target area with your search coil at a new angle will provide a cleaner target response. Pro Mode allows deeper detection and more information on a target's size or depth. Listen to this silver coin in Standard Mode. Notice that the volume of the response is always the same until the target is no longer detected. Now compare the same target in Pro Mode. It sounds louder at shallow depth and sounds fainter at deeper depths. This proportional signal strength helps the more experienced user understand more about the target's size, depth, and even its shape. Now that we've spent a little time reviewing Standard and Pro Audio, let's go over the different discrimination patterns that are available in each of the two modes. There are three patterns in both Standard and Pro: Custom, Coins, and Zero. These discrimination patterns are the same configuration in either Standard or Pro. Zero Mode is designed to detect every type of metal. All 12 discrimination pixels are switched on, and high-res iron discrimination is set to 0, indicating that no metal targets have been eliminated. Switch to the Zero Mode to help locate a target when its signal is inconsistent. Such signals could mean the target is made of iron, or that a trash target is close to a good target. Coins Mode is designed to find most types of coins, jewelry, and other desired targets, while eliminating trash items such as iron and foil. The high-res iron discrimination level has been preset to 35 to exclude most iron targets. In addition, 1 pixel of foil and 2 pixels in the pull tab range have been excluded. The Custom Mode can be customized by the operator, and the AT Pro will retain the changes when the detector is switched off. Changes made to the Zero or Coins Mode will not be retained after the detector is switched off. The factory preset for the Custom Mode is the same as the Coins Mode. Begin with this discrimination pattern, and then use the iron disc and notch disc push buttons to customize the iron discrimination level and notch discrimination pattern.